Joining us now is editor-in-chief of The Verge, Patel. All right, so is this real? I mean, it seems real.
No, I don't think it's real. You can't press release past your way. You can't press release your way past the reality of shipping hardware on a phone network. And you certainly can't press release your way past the reality of operating a phone network. So I think what we have here is a lot of bluster over what amounts to a mobile virtual network operator, an MVNO, a rebrand of T-Mobile's network, and what will almost certainly be a skinned Chinese Android phone. I think it's important to say very obviously that that's what's going to happen here. It's what always happens.
You don't think there's any way that a $500 phone could get built in the? There's so many weird things about the story, KnA-Ights, not least, and I know this isn't your lane, but the branding of Trump and during the Trump administration, the fight with Apple, and basically the idea of, I guess, if you're not going to move it and build it here, we're just going to launch, a phone that does have those attributes. And it's not going to be an iPhone, but maybe there's a segment of the market that doesn't care.
Yeah, like so many things in Trump world, it's important to carefully parse what they're actually saying. The only thing they're specifically claiming that will happen in the United States is the call center will be in St. Louis. Eric Trump today, I think on the Benny Johnson show, said eventually all the phones will be made in America. That's a long eventually.
Because eventually. My first take, and we know that the president has kind of come out at Apple a little bit and said we want the phones made in America. And there's all kinds of estimates out there, anywhere from making it in America might cost 25% more to like 250% more, a $3,000 phone. My first take, KnA-Ights, was that this was going to be like a test. Is it even possible? But it sounds like you think the phone will be an overseas phone, maybe just rewrapped.
Yeah, there's two things they're claiming on the website. First, you can bring your own phone to the network, which is really, I think, probably what they're assuming most people will do. You already have a phone, you can get it off your carrier. You can pay an exorbitant amount of money for the service they are offering. It's $47.45, $47.45 in reference to the presidencies. That is so much more expensive than any other prepaid service. You can go to Mint Mobile today and get that same service for $15. You can go to any of the big carriers prepaid.
I've parsed those Ryan Reynolds commercials because I think he's highly effective. But
he's also handsome.
But if you want to pay full freight for Visible from Verizon.
But they say that you will get unlimited data. They say it will offer free texts and calls and unlimited data for that price point. I mean, that would be a steal on the market if it's true, right?
Once again, you got to parse it. So that unlimited data, like everyone else's unlimited data, is only 20 gigabytes of unlimited data, and then they throttle your speeds. If you go and pay full freight from Visible or Cricket or Metro, which are the prepaid carriers from the big three, you're going to be paying $35 a month for more data before it gets throttled.
Okay.
So even just like on the face of it, you can get better deals if you shop around and switch carriers like you always can. But if you're just going to pay full freight, you can go to the big carriers and get a better deal for more data.
So when they're
what you also get is...
Sorry. So when they're saying we will sell phones that will be built in the U.S., you think what they're referring to is assemblage and not actual, soup to nuts construction?
I don't think they're going to sell a phone that has anything to do with the United States on any kind of timeline that makes sense. I think they are assuming people will pay money for a Trump-branded service and bring their own phones because people have phones now. And then what they are going to sell is the T1 Model 8002, which is what they will tell you it's called if you call them, is undoubtedly a rebranded Chinese Android phone. That is the only way you can get to $499 with the specs that they're offering. You cannot stand up the capital expenditure to build that phone in the United States and then sell it at those specs for $499. Those specs match some flagship Android phone specs, right? You're competing with the margins of a Samsung at those specs. And to do that, you need existing manufacturing, and you cannot just like horsepower your way through the CapEx needed to bring that manufacturing in. And that's just math. Like, that's aside from however you might feel about Trump. The reality is it costs a lot of money to stand up a network, so they haven't done that. They're rebranding what is almost certainly T-Mobile's network. And it costs a lot of money to start manufacturing phones. And there's no way they're going to do that at $499. So what you have here is the Trump organization being the Trump organization. They're putting their name on some existing products and services in very familiar ways. And then they're making a bunch of promises that will probably not come true over the long term.